Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 38 of Sights on Sinnoh, the Diamond and Pearl anime podcast, going along with Ash and his friends through the Sinnoh region as we head closer to Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. With me again this week is Greg. How are you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Pretty good. We're gonna go into something that's a little less familiar, something even unknown to some people. With this week's episode of Sights on Sinnoh, we're covering episodes 8 and 9 of Battle Dimension.
Battle Dimension.
Yes, titled Journey to the Unknown. And the blurb for this reads, deep in training for Solaceon contest, Dawn shows off Apom's latest contest move and discovers that Apom actually has learned a new move called Double Hit. And while in training, Ash and friends meet up with Kenny, Dawn's childhood friend and rival, as they decide to battle at the Solaceon ruins. So, cold open, what'd you think?
I don't even remember what the cold... Oh, I remember what the cold open was. I don't pay attention to them anymore because it's like, this means nothing. Just skip ahead. I zoned out and I was doing something else while I'm like, you're going to give away a thing, and you are clearly giving away a thing. So, no thanks.
Yeah, I liked it all until the end. It's like, what? Don't spoil it right there. But yeah. It's a pretty big hint at the beginning of this episode when Dawn's telling her friends how, hey, look, I'm trying to use Focus Punch really quickly, so it shows off Apom's speed and agility. And then Brock points out that it actually isn't Focus Punch that Apom's using, but a move called Double Hit.
Double Hit, the one that needs to evolve in the game.
Yeah, exactly. So if you played the game, you're like, oh, I know immediately what
I know what's going to happen. This is post... This is post them trading, right? This is officially done. I watched the trade one when they did the trade. It's a whole lot of drama for nothing. That episode. They're like, oh, but I spent so much time training this. I'm like, you are literally traveling together. Like,
right.
You'll see
You're not
each
going to separate.
Mm-hmm. You'll see each other literally every day. It's the most ridiculous thing. Anyways, I'm happy that they're post trading in this one. And yeah, and then Kenny shows up and does the whole Dee thing, which is just like Kenny is just Gary. That's my biggest complaint about Kenny. Kenny is just Gary of contests.
I think yeah.
I mean, Dee and Smell You Later, it's the same thing. It's just like, I'm going to mock you for no apparent reason. And I sort of respect you, but don't.
Yeah, I think he tries to tease her a lot. And I guess my bias from what we see later on is that it might just be him trying to cover up his romantic feelings for her. Did you get that at all from that?
I mean, no, it is just like he is just mocking, and they really don't ever sort of cut away to him being forlorn about it. It is just him sort of being kind of a jerk, and when other people are around and sort of like looking at him, he doesn't like seem remorseful for being a jerk. And it is like, I get that they're supposed to be kids, but even for kids, it's like a childish way to be like, I'm gonna hit you. You do that when you're 4 because you don't know what emotions are. You don't do that when you're raising Pokemon and you have been out on the road for a while.
Right. He's got a bunch of all his Pokemon except for Prinplup, every time we've seen them, are fully evolved, which I was just like, oh. Like, do you know what his third Pokemon is?
Do I know what all of them are?
Yes, he has one other Pokemon that doesn't appear this episode, but we saw in his first appearance.
Oh, yeah. Does he only have the 2?
No, he has Breloom, Prinplup, and Alakazam.
Oh, right. I forget about Alakazam.
Which JM and I talked about. We're like, why the heck does he have this? Like, we're not even past the second gym, I think, when we first meet him. And you're like,
I
what?
mean, he had something that a trainer wanted and he traded and it
I
evolved.
guess.
And that is the end of it. And since it's contest, it doesn't matter if it's over leveled because it will
Hmm.
just listen.
That is the thing I kind of like about it, is that with contest, it opens it up to that. It's not like a power scale necessarily, at least for the appeal round. But this is when we find out that both him and Dawn are going to be competing in the Solaceon contest the next day. And he actually tells them, hey, let's go see Dialga and Palkia. And they're like, what?
What?
And then it's
They're
revealed.
here? Yeah.
Yeah. It's revealed that it's actually statues, of course, of these two Pokemon over at the Solaceon ruins. Now, this is a bit of a change from the game, which I actually kind of liked.
Mm-hmm.
Because in game, the Solaceon ruins are basically just where you find Unown and some items, but there's like nothing else to really connect to the greater lore of the Sinnoh region. And having these statues outside kind of add a nice detail to that I wish was more present, because like Celestic Town is connected to it and then Eterna City, but that kind of feels like it's it.
Yeah, I mean, in the games, those ruins are not interesting.
Mm-hmm.
There's not even really a reason to go there, and at least like they decided, well, we'll make it a thing in the anime.
Right, it's like, oh, okay, it's really elevating what this could be.
Yeah, we'll make it something that maybe you should pay attention to. You don't have to pay attention to
it. But they're not the only ones in there. As they like go to the back and start a battle, because at the same time we see that Team Galactic is entering the ruins, followed by a supposedly stealthy Team Rocket.
Yeah.
And the Team Galactic admin that they're following is none other than Saturn, who is revealed.
Dun.
Yes, it's revealed that he hired Team Rocket at Eterna City to go and steal the lustrous orb, I believe. And it's very clear that he knows that they're there and he just lets them follow.
What are they gonna do?
Right. Like, they have no idea. They just assume he's looking for treasure.
Right. I mean, they're clueless, as always.
Exactly.
I mean, it was nice to see Flash used in an
yes.
anime.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that's it? It's one beam? Like, that doesn't help at all.
I mean, yeah, just use a flashlight at that point.
Right. It is literally just a flashlight, and I guess it's slightly larger.
Right.
So then we cut back to the statues had the friend thing on it again.
Yes. When every life meets another life, something will be born.
And then Ash and Kenny decide to fight again.
Yes, Ash proposed a battle, and he didn't seem to want to battle him at the Pokemon Center, but this time Kenny's the one who wants to battle here at the ruins.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like...
And Don's like, I have a coin flip thing on my watch.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because Kenny's like, who's going to get the first move? And...
What? When is that a thing? When is that a thing in any of these battles? Never in any of the Elite Four gym battles, any of the things are they like coin toss? Like, coin toss, who gets the first move? Like, never. They just line up and they order moves, and whoever's faster goes. It's like this weird idea that suddenly when the battle starts, Kenny or Ash is going to get like a free one shot. Like, no.
Yeah. And it's so mostly weird to show off that the Pokédex exists and that she has an app that Kenny doesn't. And it's like, point for Dawn? Question mark?
I guess.
So they decide heads and tails. Ash wins. And the battle starts between his Turtwig, which we actually get a bit of an inner monologue from. Not Turtwig, but Ash, who says, Oh, he used Prinplup last time, so probably use Prinplup again. So grass is good, and I'll use Turtwig against that
Yeah,
Prinplup.
I don't know why you would make that assumption.
Mm-hmm. He has an
Like,
Alakazam. Like
like
what?
he has a lot of Pokemon like you do. What it's the
Right.
weirdest thing. Like, oh, he's asking me to use Prinplup. I'm like, okay. Also, it's a fully evolved. Well, not fully. It's an evolved Pokemon against a Turtwig. So, and you don't use Turtwig much. So good luck. But instead, he brings out Dun 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 Breloom, which surprises
Of course.
everyone.
The signature Pokemon of Gen 4.
Yes, Breloom.
Breloom comes onto the field, and it's a Pokedex entry for Dawn, and they're like, wait, why did you send a grass type against a grass type? And Dawn's like, oh, it's probably because
Right.
he wants to show it off, and if they don't do much damage to each other, it gives them more of a chance to do that. Turtwig starts off with a tackle, and he's like, whoa, Turtwig's so fast!
Yeah. This is not a particularly interesting battle because this is like
Mm-hmm.
tackle, razor leaf. Oh, look, Mach Punch, which works differently here because it's the anime. And then suddenly we're all impressed by Energy Ball, which I'm like, why? Why are we impressed by Energy Ball?
Because it's a new move.
I guess. And then they stop because of Energy Ball. And Ash is
Yeah,
like,
I
teach me that. And I'm like, finish your battle.
right. Like what? Hash?
Yeah, it's like he fires this energy ball. It's pretty. Everybody just stops and they're like, "Oh, teach me that move." It's like, how about you finish the battle that you were just
Yeah.
complaining that you didn't get to finish the first time?
Mhm.
Ugh, Ash. And
It's
whatever.
a
And,
very weird turd for the battle. Um
and then,
and
yeah, it's wild.
so basically Ash is just like Turtwig should learn a new move he hasn't learned within a while, which is like, all
Because
right,
you don't use
fair.
him. I mean, this is your fault. We
Uh-huh.
just went through a 2-episode boring arc of
Robopaths and
well, no, of
Luxray.
like James getting all, oh, I can't teach Cacnea stuff. It's the
Oh
trainer who
yeah.
does these things. We just did that boring plot line.
Mhm.
And now you're like, oh, he hasn't learned one on his own. It's like you were there when it's about the trainer. You don't use Turtwig.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, does Turtwig know Bullet Seed? And I'm like, nah, because that's TM09, and he didn't go to the place to find it.
Yeah,
Wherever
and
he has to find it. I forget
Kenny
where
uses
it is.
that basis to say like, hey, if he learns Bullet Seed, it's easier to learn Energy Ball because it has the same basic concept of collecting energy and releasing it.
Or it's spitting seeds. Like, this is a
Yeah,
weird, it's like the weirdest
comparison.
comparison. Multiple shots is
Hmm.
easier to learn one big shot.
Well, they're a lot
Okay.
smaller, and this is the part that bothers me actually. That he specifically brings up Bullet Seed. This is a move that Ash has taught to a Pokemon in the past
Right.
using a very simple method.
But if I'm remembering, it's Trico.
Yeah.
And Trico learns it by level up, I'm pretty sure.
No, just TM actually.
Oh, no, it's just TM2. Well, yeah, what the
Hmm.
heck? It's the same TM.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, this is when TMs were one-time use. Right.
Exactly.
It got erased from his memory.
But
Womp.
the way that he taught it was by eating into watermelons and then spitting seeds out.
Which
So,
is the same as one great big energy ball.
yeah, I'm like, there's a lot of differences between the two here, and I'll get to what I think is a better comparison that which you'll see later on. But here, as Ash requests to get tutored in this move, he Kenny again acts like he's top of the world or everything, and says only if you beat me, which Dawn is kind of mad about, but then Churchwick and Ash like easily accept. So
But yeah,
they
only
continue
if
the battle.
you beat me,
Mm-hmm.
the battle you just stopped.
Yeah, it's like, how about we finish the battle, Ash? He
How
should have
about
said.
you? How about you do what you started?
Exactly.
And since you had just complained about the one being interrupted, ugh.
Right.
So then back into the ruins,
Mm-hmm.
Galactic and Team Rocket are running around, and then they put down the splash plate, the iron plate, and the Draco plate.
Yeah.
And it
Now,
causes the center room to glow.
and all these unknown that are on the wall suddenly come to life because they kind of look like they were molded onto it.
Right. They look like inscriptions, and then they
Right.
become real.
And they start floating around Team Galactic as a box comes out of the floor, and he just holds it and kind of reveals to Team Rocket, like, I know you're there.
Right. I know you're there the entire time. This is a thing I wanted. I'm out, and
Yes.
I'm gonna take this. And then all the unknown are real mad that he took the box. It's like, okay, well, if you're real mad that they took the box, why do you have a key pedestal that makes the box come out?
Like, well,
Like, why didn't you stop him from putting the plates in? You were clearly there.
see, that's the part I was unsure about. Is it the fact that he put the plates in that freed the unknown as well?
It seems like a poor security system if they only appear when you have unlocked the door, presented the treasure,
Mm-hmm.
and then are like, "Oh, hey, stop!" Like, what? No, it's a bad security system. It's like we're the unknown just expecting him to look at it and say, "Well, that was cool. I'm going to take my plates now and leave."
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe they have some relationship with the ancient people of Sinnoh that we'll find out in Legends Arceus coming out January 2022.
We will not find out. They're not going to answer this mystery. It's the
No.
anime. They don't care.
Saturn
he
uses
takes
this
it.
opportunity. What was that?
So he takes it, and they're like, "Stop." And then Saturn's holding it and is like chastising Team Rocket, which they
Mhm.
deserve. I don't blame
Yes.
him.
Sure. He then uses unknown. Oh, he then uses Bronzor. One of its moves, a Confuse Ray, on all the unknown, which it immediately like makes them confused, as the move would imply. Team Rocket shields their eyes, and when they open them up again, everyone is gone. It's literally just them and a room
Yeah.
full of angry unknown. I didn't
Yeah.
catch this. Did you see if they took the plates or left them?
I don't remember. I don't think
Okay.
they took them because why would they need them anymore?
Yeah. But now that has me wondering, how's Arceus going to get them back?
Somebody's gonna walk in here and grab them at some point. And
Uh,
somebody who returns the key after they get it.
oh,
They'll be like,
maybe.
okay, lock it up again. It's also weird that Confuse Ray is like mass Confuse Ray.
Yeah, like it just hits
It's like-
everyone.
It just hits everybody everywhere, and it doesn't affect Meowth because Meowth closes his
No.
eyes.
And yeah, Wobbuffet and Meowth are both there, and neither of them are hit. So maybe Wobbuffet just secretly used Safeguard.
Maybe it's one of those things you're like, okay, anime,
Yeah.
anime
and
rules.
And then the rules of reality kind of come apart as Team Rocket try to get out of the room and run away. And the whole thing is like every 90s movie with stairways like on the ceiling, going nowhere,
Yeah.
gravity's all over the place. And this activates what seems to be a defense mechanism.
Again, too late. Like,
yeah, hey, it's
Better
Rusty.
get enough time to leave.
Yes.
Before the and what is the point of locking the ruins up if the thing that you're protecting has left?
Maybe so the unknown can like stop the thieves, knock them out, and just put the treasure back.
But the thieves left.
Yeah,
Like,
they
it's
were.
so slow, they're gone. So
It
you've
is.
captured. So and then the stair lifts up and Dawn and falls inside or whatever.
Yeah, she's on like what looks to be stairs, watching with Apom and Piplup the battle that's going on, and it suddenly lifts up and it basically just like spatulas her inside.
Yeah.
Piplup falls in, so Apom tries to go after it and catch it, and then she runs down as well. And then
Is
everyone
Brock
else,
even around? I don't even remember
yeah,
Brock in this episode.
he is refereeing the
That's right. He is around.
Yep. And quickly they decide that they have to follow Dawn inside and just barely make it in.
Right.
Like that Breloom looked like it was gonna get squished.
Get crushed. Get wrecked, Breloom. Then they're inside with the standard sci-fi warping walls and nothing makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And Kenny freaks out because reasons.
The walls are like
I mean,
weird and foggy or
I
something.
can't blame him. Like Kenny's
Yeah.
the only person that's acting normal in this entire situation. And then Ash is like, "Hey, your Pokemon will feel bad if you don't calm down." And he's like, "Okay." Like, how does? It's like, what?
Well,
Hey, remember, you have to be calm so nobody else panics, even though we're living in an existential Cthulhian nightmare.
but freaking out's not gonna help you get out. To be fair.
But like, the reason you calm down is so that the Pokemon feel okay. Like, not because you have needs.
Yeah, he doesn't
Good job,
calm.
Ash.
Right, like it would have been better if he'd like, hey, it's gonna be alright, like calm down him before telling him, hey, you have to calm down because of that.
Because,
Like, no,
or
no,
like,
no, no.
hey, calm down so we all can work together.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Instead, it's hey, calm down so your Pokemon don't freak out, which
Your
is
Pokemon.
good. Okay, Ash, great. Dawn and Apom are like lost, of course.
Yes, they are completely different area and are suddenly attacked by the unknown, who are just shooting like red beams at them.
Which I mean, they only know hidden power, so
Mhm.
I'm assuming that's hidden power. And of course, Dawn is completely clueless, and then Piplup and Apom jump in front and do moves.
Yes. They
And
block
then
it with Piplup, or they block it with Bubble Beam and Swift.
Swift, and it knocks the unknown out of their confusion
Mm-hmm.
for reasons.
Yeah, I mean, like it's okay. It's not the best, but it's kind of just like slapping someone out of something, I guess.
I guess, but it's also not much of a. I mean, I know they're running out. Like they have only so much time, but it's just like,
Mhm.
well, just hit him with an attack, and they don't even. She doesn't even like make the connection that the attack really snapped them out of it. It's just like, oh, the world goes back to normal.
I think she
And Don,
does because, well, I was
it
gonna
also
say as we keep going, she keeps doing it, so I think she understands what happens every time.
sort of. It's hard to say that she knows that it knocks them out of confusion and that she's just like, oh, it's a Pokemon battle. Like, she doesn't ever speak that she knows, like, oh, that also caused the world to go back because not only are the unknown confused, but they're warping reality.
Yeah.
Which the assumption is at first that they are just creating an illusion of warped reality.
Yeah.
But we quickly find out that they are actually warping reality, which is a wild thing to be happening in this anime episode. So she runs off down a hallway, and then all the boys are like, oh, they're confused, and let's just do attacks. And that snaps them out. And again, they don't comment on, like, hey, attacking them seems to snap them out of confusion. Just the world go back to normal, like, oh, cool, let's find Dawn.
There's visual indicators for us, but it's not clear if
Right.
they also see them.
Yeah. And then Dawn is running again and goes into another, like, why would you go into a room that looks warped? Because they clearly show up
Mhm.
ahead when it looks warped. Yet she just apparently barrels into it because for some reason she's on the eternal staircases again.
I think she's just trying to go in a straight line and like
Okay, if you were walking down a hallway and at the end of the hallway in the direction you were going was a warped world that looked like a red nightmare, would you perhaps not turn around and decide to check out the other way?
hey, maybe she does. Like we don't see that because
True.
there's
Who knows how
probably
long she's been in there?
Yeah, I'd say maybe around an hour or so because it looks like they're getting a bit tired at this point. When suddenly Team Rocket just tumbles down the stairs on the side, and she's like, "Oh God, you guys!"
How did you get in here?
Yeah, and
Uh,
like, "Are you responsible?" And she's like, "No, not this time."
yeah. I mean, they kind of are because you stole the thing from the first place. Like, you helped this series of events happen, but not directly.
Right.
And then there are more angry Unown, and then Apom jumps up and does double hit. Does she say to use double hit?
No,
I,
so what happens here is Piplup and Apom do their usual strategy of Swift and Bubble Beam, but then a bunch of the unknown actually charge after the attack, and she's like, oh, like she's not ready for it. So Apom jumps in and blocks the unknown with double hit, just on its own volition.
uh, and then the cold open comes true.
And we see Apom glow, and as was already kind of explained in the beginning, double hit has led to Apom evolving into Ambipom.
One of my least favorite.
I like a Ambipom, but I just love Apom a lot more.
So Apom's face is so different.
Yeah.
And what I don't like about Ambipom's face is like Apom's face is like a clear, it is just like a big smile and a couple of eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And it is very um it's a very simple design.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I got a clean face, I got a cute hand. And when they go to Ambipom, the eyes space out, which makes it look super weird because they put a nose in there, but the nose is just a
Mm-hmm.
weird triangle. So the face goes from being sort of this like a simple cute thing to a too wide
Mm-hmm.
equation because it's like this doesn't look right.
It looks more like a Teletubby.
Yeah, I think that, and like Apom has like like a cute tuft of hair, and they get rid
Mm.
of that to make it just two split sprigs. It's like like they made like I like the body, I like
Mm-hmm.
the two arms. I think is cute, but like when it comes to the face, they did take a like a huge heavy Teletubby vibe, and I don't care for it. I think it just looks super weird. It goes it like it doesn't like not that all their evolutions, a lot of them don't necessarily make sense, but for some reason they kept enough of this one and then just made the face real bad and gave it real bad bangs. Real bad
Yeah,
bangs.
it's almost like they want to make it more complicated for no reason.
Yeah, it's just not I've never been happy with
Uh, hmm.
I think it could have been better if there was a middle evolution, something that sort of bridged the
Mm.
two maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe introduced the nose or something, but I think still the problem I have is the face is too wide and it just looks weird.
If it were the same height as Apom, I could see it almost being like a regional variant
Yeah.
because it has those weird tweaks to it that like you could have just kept the same, and I think it would have been a little more smoother of a transition between the two.
And they look like cow teats on the ends of his. He looks like he's got he looks like he's got milting udders on his tails, and I do not like it.
They look less practical than his old hand.
Correct. The old hand looked like it could pick things up. I mean, these literally look like udders because they colored the tips.
Right.
And it's like, I still think
uh
it is the weirdest choice. They made some choices when they
yeah.
designed, and I don't agree with those choices.
Hmm.
I
I
just find it weird and off-putting.
like I enjoy a lot of the concept of it evolving and the fact that it now has two tails and is stronger, but there's just a lot of things that could have been avoided if they had just made a simple transition. Be like, all right,
Yeah.
what's a bigger Apom
Yeah.
that is Two Tails?
Yeah, it's
and
just
not Teletubby Palm.
it's so weird. Yeah, so the Unknown snap out, and then they all show up. Somehow Brock sees them first. I forget. I think Brock sees them up on the ceiling, or no, Brock and Ash and Kenny are up on the ceiling, and Dawn and Team Rocket are quote unquote on the floor.
Or so we
And
think, yes.
And they're looking at each other through actual warped space. Because it is apparently not a illusion. They have actually warped space and gravity.
Right.
And so once again, the Unknown are like, ha ha ha, we're evil and mad and confused.
They're not evil. Okay.
Their faces go from bright red and angry to pale and calm, and they float off. Like, they are aggressive and angry, and red is always signifies anger. And they have like this evil intent on their face. Like they all sort of are looking evilish, and then they get snapped out of it and like, oh, what were we doing? Let's float off.
Yeah, but that's still from the confusion. Like my interpretation is that they're confused, and this is kind of how they would normally be in like warping reality to make it harder for anyone to escape with the key. But because they're also confused, they're also shooting beams at people because they're unclear of what's going on and who the enemy is.
If they're supposed to warp, they failed literally the minute they showed up. Like, they did nothing to get the key away. They did nothing to stop Saturn. They did literally nothing. They showed up, gave Saturn enough time to talk to Team Rocket, and then enough time for Saturn to confuse all of them.
Maybe Saturn had an escape rope and it just flew super fast out of there.
Like, bye, grunts. See ya. Except they went with.
Right. That's the thing that I think is the flaw here, is that they don't really explain how Saturn gets out so quickly when everyone else is trapped. And that's like the only thing I think of. Maybe they use teleport, dig, or something off screen.
They give no reasons other than he has to escape.
It's all up to us to figure it out.
Yeah. It's all us to fill in the details that we don't care about because it's literally not important. Once again, Piplup breaks the Unknown free with Bubble Beam, and then we get the reveal that it's Dawn and Team Rocket that are on the ceiling.
Right.
And they start to fall. And the thing that always makes me laugh about Pokemon in particular is how suddenly they treat falling damage so seriously when it is not a thing at any other point. Like, Team Rocket has sailed 450 feet in the air and returned to the Earth without a problem. They have all been hit by Pokemon attacks that have electrified them, set them on fire. Ash has multiple times had to catch Pikachu and jumped and fallen. And suddenly there's this bizarre, they're going to fall to the floor. Yeah. It's like, compared to what you put everybody else through, this is nothing. But he says to Happiny to catch everybody.
Yeah.
But Happiny doesn't.
They all fail really badly at catching Dawn and Team Rocket. Which I was like, what was the point? Like, like Kenny gets injured basically trying to catch Jenny.
And then the door opens because the Unknown are like, well, you freed us from our confusion, and I don't know why we shut the doors, but we don't need to shut them anymore because you beat us up. It's like, so like, how are these ruins supposed to work?
Yeah.
But they get
I didn't think about that part, actually.
Yeah. They all leave, and they all look at Team Rocket like, hey, what did you do?
Like, what happened exactly?
Yeah, and Team Rocket does a smart thing. And even though the correct answer is we have no clue, they just leave.
Yeah, like, they can actually say they're innocent for the most part.
Right, and they would be, but instead they just like, we out.
and swear revenge on Team
Yeah.
Galactic. So
And
something happened
then
there.
everybody's happy that Apom is Ambipom except for me. And Don is super confident that Ambipom can win the next contest. And then Ash is like, "Are we gonna battle?" And Kenny's like, "I'll just teach Energy Ball, I guess." So on the condition that Ash doesn't give
Yes.
Don leverage against Kenny,
Right.
which is like, come on, dude, stick with your friend. Tell Dawn something that she can tease Kenny back with. But no, you're gonna learn Energy Ball, which you don't even learn.
Yeah, Ash just like looks at Dawn behind them. Is like, all right.
All right, I guess. I mean, I'm getting something out of it, and I'll betray my friend. Sure.
So Ash, clueless as ever, just goes along with it, and that's pretty much it for this episode.
Yeah.
So, what would you rate Journey to the Unknown? Journey to the Unknown. I want to say something else, but I don't know what.
I mean, it's not on its own. It's not complete filler, right? Like they had to show off Team Galactic getting, the Merkin, the MacGuffin, so that they can move the plot along, and they also needed to give something interesting for Apom to do to evolve. I mean, I give it a solid 6. Like, there was enough in here that I didn't feel like, well, this is a complete waste of an episode. But there's just a lot that they don't bother to answer. Again, it's sort of the thing that they do in kids shows where they're just like, details, we don't care about them. Continuity, don't care. Just go with it. It's fine. And I tend to be like, it's fine. It's fine. Like, I can't rate it higher simply because it's just sort of a chaotic episode that is like a series of events that they just linked together to get these things done. Like, there was no real reason for them to be sucked into the pyramid, into the ruins. Like, they could have leveled Apom up in any other way, in a battle against Kenny, a battle against Brock, like any way that could have happened. Like, the Galactic piece and the Apom piece had no reason to be together other than they were in the same area. So
like
it just
you,
felt like you could have done a flashback with Team Galactic. We didn't need the heroes tied to this moment.
right? They kind of just get sucked in, but they also don't learn anything.
No, they don't learn anything. Like, they don't even know what happened in the pyramid. And like, the only people that could tell them what just went down smartly leave. And
You
so,
think?
like, the heroes learn nothing. They learn nothing about the plans. And the only people that know is Team Rocket, and Team Rocket had no reason to interact. Like, it's just weird that they stuck them together. It just felt like they didn't really need to have these two storylines meet.
I really liked this episode and just how like some of the things were set up with domino effect wise. But yeah, that's the part I think that bothers me the most is the connective tissue between these two concurrent plots doesn't really exist or gets explained much. I kind of wish that T Rocket had told them, or like they had some way of figuring it out using clues and kind of put together what happened, but it's a lot of plot progression and setup that only the viewer is really aware about.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, I think the animation of this episode was actually really slick. Like especially that moment in the cold open, Apom looks so nice in terms of its movement and just how smooth the coloring is on it. So I really like that part. It kind of makes me wish we had seen more of Apom like that in that high quality of animation. But with all that in mind, I think I'm gonna give this a 7 out of 10.
All right.
Yeah. I also kind of wish that as I mentioned in the beginning, they do more to connect Sinnoh to its past in the remakes with like simple statues, because that's something that's kind of hinted at with a lot of dialogue in the games. But there isn't a lot of landmarks or visual aspects to that I think could strengthen that connection as you go through it. So that was one of also the high points in seeing Solaceon having Dialga and Palkia statues.
Yeah, they made it more interesting than it is in the games.
Exactly, yeah. Because in the games, again, it's pretty much just where you get Unown. There's some
But
items in
I
there.
still feel like they made it interesting to tie those two places together. Like
Mm,
the statues were there solely to have them be eaten into this pyramid to push this APOM plot along. And
mhm.
again, I feel like you decided to add this feature here to have any reason for them to be near these ruins,
Yeah.
to have them pulled into a plot line that doesn't really involve them and that they'll learn nothing about. It's just
Mhm.
like it felt somewhat ham-fisted to me.
Yeah, because why is Kenny want to go to these ruins? It's not
He just
really.
doesn't. He's just like, hey, I want to go see these statues.
Mhm.
Okay.
Like, all right, I guess. Some trivia here. This is actually only the second appearance of Unown in the main series anime. The first one being Address Unknown, and despite being created after the introduction of the new forms, exclamation point and the question mark unknown do not appear in this episode. Probably because we ended the episode with a lot of exclamation points and unknowns with the questions that this episode left us.
Mm-hmm.
So moving on to the next one, we have episode 9 called Team Shocker. And this is the start of the Solaceon contest, which we have a cold open showing Kenny, Jesselina, and Dawn giving a quick look at their performances.
Very quick look, a quick and
Mhm.
unneeded look, because we're going to see the whole thing soon enough.
Yeah,
Also, like the name
I don't
the
know.
name
I
of
have
the
no clue.
episode doesn't make any sense.
The Japanese name is just Pokemon Contest Zui Convention, which I'm guessing is like the name of the town.
Yeah, it's Solaceon. I think it's that town. Yeah,
Mhm.
I don't know why Team Shocker is the
Yeah.
title. I sat there thinking about it the entire time. I'm like, I mean, why? I mean, I suppose
Right.
the end is supposed to be the Shocker, but what's the team? It's just a weird I just don't understand why they named it, and it's not even like a pun on
Mhm.
something. Like it's just there. I'm like, this is weird. Why?
Yeah. I'm trying to see like other names for it in other languages. In Spanish, it's un buen equipo, which is just like a good team. Like what? Like no one knew what to name this episode clearly.
Yeah.
Uh, but as we start off, we see Dawn practicing Rainbow Swift with Ambipom, where instead of kind of swinging its tail around like it did with Apom, here it just spins on its hands and has its tails like pointed right straight up forward, or yeah, pretty it has its tails pointed straight up and letting out the sparkly stars to collide with each other and cause rainbows to appear.
Mhm.
Not really sure how that happens and how
Mm-mm.
she's able to control that. But it's an interesting new variation on the move. Meanwhile, Turtwig is trying to learn Energy Ball, and Kenny and Breloom are trying to teach it, but it's still not quite there. What I think is
Because you're
the
a bad
stronger
trainer, Ash.
connection. What was that?
Ash is just a bad trainer.
What I thought would have been interesting is that the way that Turtwig's head glows, the leaves on its head, remind me of synthesis. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
why couldn't you say, hey, if you know synthesis, that's a move that stores up energy, that would be a good catalyst for learning Energy
Yeah.
Ball.
Look, he just needs the TM.
Would you like that? Would you like the anime to just straight
Yes!
up have TMs? Okay.
Why not? I mean, they're supposed to be training manuals. Like they're supposed to be training manuals on a compact disc that you boot up and say, "Hey, this is how you do it." I mean, they're supposed to be digital creatures. Like it's the weirdest conceit that, yeah. But yeah, I would happily take a training manual, a TM, and be like,
Technical machine?
here it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is, I don't know. It's the weird thing of them trying to learn how to learn moves when suddenly it's the same thing like with the falling damage. Like how Pokemon learn moves is chaos theory. Focus punch suddenly is double hit. Suddenly they learned to move seemingly out of nowhere, and then we have these prolonged issues of them trying to learn a move through training. Like they aren't ever consistent because some things just happen. Like they'll throw them out and they'll use them a new move and be like, "Oh my god, when did you learn flamethrower?" It's like, okay, so why did you learn flamethrower? Like literally by thinking in your ball for 5 days, and Turtwig can't or Cacnea can't recreate a thing it did once.
Yeah, the most consistent rule I've seen is kind of if it's a move that the Pokemon wouldn't learn normally that it would need a TM for, then that's where it kind of needs training. Because for the most part, other times where you see Pokemon learn moves, it's kind of just something that they would pick up upon leveling up, and it's general, like, raising, I guess.
It would be cool if they say, "Oh, Energy Ball isn't one of Turtwig's
natural
moves, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult, like to express any reason why."
Yeah,
but they don't. It's just Turtwig's failing for reasons.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and then this dazzling rainbow swift because stars hit each other and make rainbows.
Exactly. And as the training, Dawn gives her Pokemon Poffins, and everyone's complimenting Ambipon's performance. She still seems a little upset by her last loss, and is trying to kind of put that past her in her mind so she can focus on the contest. And then we cut to the contest the next day, where everyone's cheering for Dawn with Baniri in her cheerleader outfit in the stands, alongside Pikachu in his little kimono.
And Piplump's a cheerleader too.
Yeah.
Everybody up there cheering and having a good time.
All super cute. And the first person that we see up there is Kenny, who brings out his Breloom. And as we go through, I know Manny did this on an episode. Do you want to rate these three performances and which one to go first, second, and third?
Would I want to go first, second, or third?
Oh, just like as we like go through all of them, like rank which one you prefer like the most.
I mean, I don't know what they saw in Kenny's performance, to be honest.
It's very subtle, and they try to show it with like zooming in on Breloom's tail.
So he does a stun spore, which just makes the air foggy.
and then sparkly.
Then he sends up an energy ball, which explodes and makes it sparkly and hazy.
Well, it uses Mach Punch to make it explode.
Yeah. And then they're like, "Oh, look at it shine." I'm like, "Well, how can you see through the spore?"
Well, it's a lot less cloudy than like maybe we're seeing.
It's just because like I watched the whole thing, and it's like, oh, the stun spore is making Breloom shine. Except they put that weird brown haze over it. I'm like, you have the capability of making that look like glitter and making it look pretty. Instead, I just sat there thinking, how is this a winning performance? You literally covered Breloom in brown sludge.
Is it like to me? It's just glitter. I don't really see it as sludge.
It's brown, sticky, weird glitter. It's
sticky. What are you
Because
talking about?
it was sticking to his fur. They said that. Oh, look,
No,
it's sticking
it
and
was
shining.
going it was going past it. It was just like showing how like it's gleaming because it's reflecting off of how clean its skin is.
Okay.
Okay, that was my interpretation at least. And then we
Because
move on. Uh-huh.
Brock says, "Ooh, it is making Breloom's fur shine." And
Right,
that
and
I
I do.
stuck out, and I'm
Mhm.
like, "Breloom has fur?"
It has
I mean, I literally
something.
stopped and went, I mean, I guess it has to, but weird. Yeah, I was just Kenny's thing I was like, okay, whatever.
Sure, it wasn't the strongest. It was kind of weird. In like he didn't really move at all. It was just like
Yeah,
random standing there for a lot of it.
Breloom's standing there shaking. It was just I'm like, not next. Kenny should not win this.
Hmm. But then we get to the next performance, which is Jesselina, and she brings out her Dustox, which has a lot cleaner of a sparkle as it comes out of its
Mm-hmm.
ball. As like the performance goes on, it uses to elevate Jesselina and kind of it's like one of those machines where you do the simulated skydive.
Yeah. I
And
like Jesselina's thing was cool. I'm
mhm,
sorry. It made somebody fly on
yeah,
stage. And I don't think in the 30 seconds of watching somebody fly around controlled on stage, I don't remember who said it in the audience, like, oh, it's just the same old thing. And I'm
Brock,
like,
yeah.
Brock, when do you see somebody fly through the pure power of a dust ox? Like it's a dust ox.
Yeah.
It ain't good.
I
And
think
then
it's more that he's referencing how Jesselina involves herself in lots of the performances, and he's just like, same old thing. She'll like wrap herself with the Viper, bite herself with Carnivine.
I mean, same old thing, showing off the Pokemon and trainer bond, contests, whatever. And then the
Okay,
the
this is
the
what I'm
side
interested in your thoughts on.
the Psybeam green smoke
Where
thing.
does the smoke come from?
Where does the smoke come from? I don't understand how we make this transition.
Yeah, like
I
I
get
thought.
why everybody's afraid because we assume that Jesselina got blown into the universe.
Hmm. The
Yeah,
Psybeam like forms a ball,
yeah,
and
I don't.
Jesselina like falls on it, and then
Then
it
the smoke comes.
explodes.
Yeah, it's just a weird series of events, and I'm like, okay, I don't know how you did this, but
Hmm.
Jesselina's top performance. You flew, you manifested green smoke from nowhere,
Hmm.
and
Made a
then
tornado,
made a
apparently.
tornado, and then we're fine on the ground. Like,
Yeah.
good job, A1. You win. That is true. You should have won that for real.
For a second, I thought this was going to be another episode where I remember, I think it was Jesselina and Sinnoh, uh, uses an attack and covers up the stage in smoke or something, and when she comes out of it, she's wearing a different outfit. But this might be later on. So, overall, pretty good. Though that whole thing at the end, I'm like, they don't explain it at all. Like, maybe if she had a prop or something that would have made it clear. But it's kind of just like, oh, and boom, we're back to normal.
Yeah.
So then we cut to a few montages of performances, um, and then we finally get to Dawn, who comes running off the stage with Ambipom, and
Yeah.
she starts off with double hit, and the shockwave of this
Yeah.
double hit
It's really
is,
good.
yes, it just like blows everyone off their feet in the crowd. Like everyone's just like panicked. And she follows up with a swift attack as it spins around. and it goes into the Rainbow Swift formation, which looks pretty good to start as we
Yeah,
see all the rainbows coming up. Hmm.
it's very cool. It is a swirling star that explodes into a million things. And I have a real issue with sort of how this falls out in a
Right.
little bit.
Dawn keeps telling Ambipom to keep spinning, and it basically starts breakdancing.
Right.
And then at a certain point, like it's all stars. Like you can't even see what's going on. There's just like rainbows, stars, rainbows, and we even cut to Jesselina in the waiting room, who says, "Wow, that's even gaudier than me."
Yeah.
Kenny has a bit of a concerned look. Ash is super psyched about it though, and then Brock's like, "Don't you think that's a little much?"
Yeah.
Which to
Okay.
which Ash responds, "Hey, you gotta make it stand out to the judges." And we see the judges who.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Like it stands out. Also, we'll get to it in a bit. Like it was a very good performance. You used moves in ways that are unique. And also
Mm-hmm.
the double hit blew all your pants off. So like whatever. They get
So
backstage and get
these
the
three,
results.
right? These three performances, though, which one would you rate first, second, and third?
I would go Jesse, Dawn, Kenny.
Wait, Kenny? You mean?
Yeah.
Oh,
Jesse,
okay,
Dawn, Kenny.
okay,
Jesselina,
okay.
Dawn, and Kenny.
Yeah, I think I would do the same as well.
Kenny's is
Uh,
just boring.
yeah, Kenny like had a much cooler magic trick inspired one last time with Alakazam. I don't know what he's doing with his Breloom, but we cut to the back of the stage and see Jesselina makes it through. The rest of Team Rocket's really happy because she won't be mad at them, and we see Kenny as well. But when we get to the final spot, it's not Dawn; it's actually someone else. So Dawn has not made it to the second round for the second contest in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Dun, dun, dun.
yeah, it's
Dun,
not.
dun, 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 dun.
She's upset. We even cut to Johanna, her mom at home, who is watching the performance on TV, and she walks over to her little trophy collection that she has from her coordinator days. And I thought this was a really neat reveal where we see that she's starting to put up pictures of Dawn as well.
Yeah. I
Like,
mean, good on you,
mhm.
Mom. You could have probably have called beforehand, but whatever. I mean, you get it. Your hands off.
Yeah.
Your hands off person. And I mean, for Dawn, at least acts like a human
Yeah.
here. Like she does the right thing. She congratulates Kenny. She's gonna stick around. Jesselina tries to rub it in her face, and she's like,
Yeah.
"Nah." I mean, Jesse. We know Jesse's a bad person. Like this isn't
Hmm.
out of Jesse's character. Like she is an egotistical maniac. We know this. It lines up with how she is, and Dawn
Hmm.
is still graceful. And like it's supposed to be a big thing that Ash notices that she's disappointed. That is Ash, you do the same thing. Like you get super upset when you lose. Like
Hmm.
it is just a thing. And I don't know why they decide to make it be such a big deal here.
You're talking about the moment where you see like she's about to get pushed out by Jesselina and she turns around and then she
Yeah.
has the fist,
She has
right?
the fist. And I'm like, why whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Ash.
it's a weird moment to call out in
Hmm.
after you just showed like she was clearly upset. She did the right thing to say, like, "I'm gonna split
Right.
everybody." She's trying to process, and you close up on the fist, and it's just a weird moment to end as the period of that scene.
Hmm.
Like, okay, yeah, we know she's disappointed. I think like
Yeah.
if they had just cut that out and
Hmm.
gone to her being sad in her room, we still would have gotten there. Like we knew
Right.
she was upset. It was just super weird. I just like, why are you showing us this? And
Because
then
we see her act super mature,
yeah.
and then like this kind of undercuts it. And I remember this and watching it again. I was like, is this like implying that she wants to hit Jesse?
Yeah, it's weird. I just like the fist says so many different things. Like she's angry,
Mm-hmm.
like, and I'm like, we know. I felt like her bouncing back and congratulating everybody really
Yeah.
helped push her character forward. And that
Mm-hmm.
moment, putting a close up on the moment, sort of undercut that a little bit. I'm like, just you didn't need that there. It didn't add anything.
Right. If anything,
Uh,
it was kind of confusing.
yeah, it's just like, why? Okay, fine.
So, yeah.
Then we see Kenny and Jesse battle because they pretty much cut through everybody else. Like
Right.
they didn't even give us stills of the out of their battles like they
No.
sometimes do. Like let's cut to what everybody's here for.
Yeah. And that's going to be Primplup versus Dustox. Primplup's not doing well. Like,
No.
it goes in for a drill peck.
Yeah.
And then Psybeam just knocks it out, like, without much effort. They go into a Bubble Beam versus Poison Sting, where the spray of the Bubble Beam shows off Dustox really nicely.
The rules of these contests make no sense, and the scoring makes even little less sense. But
really? Sure. Okay.
Well, like you're just like rating based off of spray, and like Jesse doesn't command them to do anything. It was this happenstance that you shot them at the same time, and it created this mist.
Well,
to say mist is falling on Primplup is like that. The weirdness of how they just like the whole you showed that Pokemon up. It always just struck me as bizarre how they make these decisions.
The detail here that might have made the difference for the judges is that Jesse kind of set this up by using Whirlwind on Primplup to elevate it and have it use Bubble Beam from that angle, so kind of taking advantage of something that she had set up before. But it's still not entirely clear.
Yeah, also Primplup righted itself in a Whirlwind and shot an attack.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much negating the whole point of the Whirlwind. It's like
maybe, yeah.
Like the whole rating system. I've always just thought I was like, okay, the contest is who they want to win,
right?
Like it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and it's fine. It doesn't have to make sense. I always just sit there and like, okay, it's plot convenience who they want to win. Rating time.
Yeah, and in this case, it's Jesse who wins. What did you think about her getting the ribbon?
I mean, it's great. I mean, Jesse is a good trainer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is the thing.
Yeah.
Like, these people are competent. They just do dumb things.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sort of like the ongoing joke. Like, Jesse could have a huge career being a contest coordinator because she's very good. And they make the whole thing like they had no plan going in. Like, Meowth and James are worried that she's going to be because they were supposed to come up with a routine and they didn't. And she's still unplanned and unprepared and not trained, knocked it out of the park.
Mm-hmm.
And like Jessie is a good trainer. She's a bad person, but she's still a very skilled contest trainer. And I think it was important to show like, yeah, she's good.
What about that weird little slap with the judge?
Oh, that was just hilarious.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I was kind of uncomfortable with that.
So it's one of those like over enthusiastic. It's like an over enthusiastic pat. Like it's supposed to be like a tap of excitement. But again, Jessie has no idea how talented or strong she is. And also it just underlines that she really doesn't care about other people. Like it is completely fitting in her character.
Yeah. I think the part for me that's kind of weird is just the judge's reaction.
Well,
he like recovers like really quickly. I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, okay. I get hit. I mean, these people fall from 5 stars and get nothing. Nothing's wrong with them unless.
Yeah, but they do congratulate her on getting her first ribbon, and which is why she like very over enthusiastically slaps the judge. And we cut to the outside where Kenny is saying goodbye, And he says, like, I'll see you at the next one, right? And she's kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, this is after Dawn, after the good moment of Dawn retreating to her room and feeling very sad. Like, after it...
Oh, it's right
Dawn...
before that.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
right before that. He leaves. She's like, I don't know if I'm going to go. Dawn goes and has an actual, like, moment, like, I think that everybody has when they lose something, is just like...
She's just very,
she's
like...
just upset. Like...
Yeah, she holds the good luck charm that her mom gave her, which is the first ribbon her mom ever won. And she's like, oh, Mom, I lost again. Like, and I don't really understand why.
Right.
And
Which is natural.
yeah,
And
superhuman.
I don't particularly like Kenny's I'm not going to let you quit coordinating. Like, don't tell people what to do. Like, she may have found out she doesn't like contests after this. Like, that whole thing is supposed to be motivating, and I hate that part of, like, Japanese anime. Like, you're going to continue because you have to meet my level, or I'm not going to let you because I see potential in you. And it's like, it's not about you.
Yeah.
So shush.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, she just feels sorry for herself and looks, it would have been a good time for her mom to call, but whatever.
Instead,
you're gonna do it, Joanne.
Yeah, we see what happens the next day, which is Brock and Ash waiting in the lobby of the Pokemon Center for Dawn to get up, but it's getting time for them to go, and she's not coming out of her room. And Zoe appears, saying that she saw the whole thing on TV, which we did see during the contest.
Yes.
Where she was just watching from a cabin.
Again, proves Zoe is one of the best characters in this stupid anime. Because she traveled all night, as far as we can tell, to get there. Because she's in some cabin in the middle of nowhere watching a TV with, like, a bunch of local yokels.
Yeah.
And is there for her friend. I can get behind a love plot line between Zoe and Dawn well before I can see it with Kenny.
Definitely.
Because Zoe clearly cares about Dawn and clearly is there to help. And they do the move, and this is where the reasoning bothers me.
Right.
So the idea is that the Rainbow Swift is so intense that you can't see Ambipom. But you couldn't see anything in the stupid green smoke either. You can't see things in a lot of reasons. You know where it's coming from. It's like, again, your sort of weird thing of what.
So
it's just
in the bigger.
I get it in the bigger picture. I just think, like, okay. Like, there's a lot of things that you've shown where things are obscured for a short period of time. It's not like all of the judges are infants that don't have object permanence. They know where it's coming from. And it was an incredibly spectacular meteor shower. And then Ambipom was in the middle of the rainbow dust when it ended.
Yeah. From, like, the judge's perspective, I could see maybe that, like, yes, you see Ambipom at the beginning, but then it's just, like, no Ambipom for 2 minutes straight, and it's just stars. And I could see how they're like, oh,
stars in a way we've never seen before in our entire lives.
But, like, I want to also see the Pokemon, like, do more things. Like, it has, like, it can do other things other than just be a firework machine.
I guess it feels. It's
still not the strongest, definitely.
It's not the strongest reason. I mean, it is, like, the way I sort of made peace with it is Zoe coming forth and saying, "Yeah, it was incredible, but this is what the judges want."
Right.
And you have to appeal to some mediocre person whose only praise they know is remarkable. Like, he can. That is it. His life is remarkable. Mr. Remarkable is the worst. Get a thesaurus.
Yeah. If you've seen diving at the Olympics, I can relate here where I'm like, wait, why was that higher? Like, why did they score
yeah.
more?
Yeah, I mean, gymnastics, all the things that are like figure skating, everything that has a subjective reason behind it, no matter how much they try to say that it is objective, it's not. Like we have seen, even in the gymnastics things where they were rating, I forget what her name is right now, but rating her lower
Simone?
because it was so difficult and it was dangerous, so we're gonna rate it lower. I'm like, are you like
That's what?
you're just being a whole bunch of bad things, and just admit that it's subjective, and you don't want to give it to this person who's clearly talented because you don't like them because they're not following what you want them to do. And that's like what Zoe is here saying, like, yeah, they don't actually understand what's happening, they can't do it themselves, this dude can only say remarkable. Nurse Joyce is happy that she's not in a center 24/7 constantly being called upon to do stuff without anybody saying thank you.
Wow. I
And
love psychological reasoning behind these judges.
and like the Raul Contesta is just there. He's just there. Like, sure.
He's
Just
from
make them
doing this
happy.
for years.
Yeah, just make them happy. Make Ambipom stand out more. And
Right.
like, this is this is a stand by. Zoe is awesome and is too good for this anime. It should be Zoe and Piplup out on the road, and every fourth episode they meet up with Nando and have lunch.
Oh man,
and are awesome, and then go back and be awesome.
So,
and then Zoe does also good advice. Like, yeah, sometimes I don't do the next thing I have to charge. Like, I have to deal with my own feelings too.
Yeah.
And make decisions. Like, Zoe is here giving good advice. Kenny's like, don't you quit on me.
He's the worst at helping.
Kenny is such a dude. And Zoe is such a good person. And thank God for Zoe.
We stand Zoe here on this podcast.
Hardcore. She is the best character after Nando.
Hey, when's Nando giving good advice?
A ton. We don't see his life. He is too cool for this show.
But like, to our character. Look, if it's not on screen, it doesn't matter. I'm being the judge here. So, speaking of judging, exactly, does not matter. But speaking of judging, what would you rate this episode? Team Shocker, episode 9 of Battle Dimension.
Stupid name because it doesn't make any sense.
No, absolutely
I
not.
Guess the shocker part is that Jesselina wins, I guess, but I don't know what the team is. Like, you only use one Pokemon each, and none of you are on a team.
Yeah.
Anyways, I give it a solid 8. I think it's actually a very good episode. It does most things really well.
Yeah.
It gives really good. It does a lot of good things for Dawn that they undercut a little bit. The contest battles, although are cut short, at least they show some interesting things. Like, I disagree with how they showed them, but like, they still showed like a good contest. People did well. Dawn actually had an emotional problem. An actual good friend came in to help, because literally all the dudes are useless. Like, Asher has no idea what to say. Like, Zoe comes in and is like, girl, I have it. Let's go get drinks. And like, talk about what happened because I'm a good person. So, like, I think it sets up a lot of really good things and does most of those things really well.
I agree. Yeah. I think it does a good balance of not making it like about Dawn being new to contest anymore.
Right.
Like, this is her 4th one. She's lost 3, and this is her 2nd one in a row. And we see her develop even from the last contest where she ran out and screamed out off a balcony because she was just so frustrated. And here she's kind of on like the 2nd stage of grief almost, where she's like trying to bargain with it. So just like This is why I love this show so much, especially this era, because Dawn, I think, has one of the most solid arcs as a character,
Mm-hmm.
and this is just a really good example of that. I like it's just another contest, really. There isn't like some big stakes around it. We see her being like really confident going in, and it just kind of turns out the way it is. And Zoe tries to explain it in a friendly way that is going to help her moving forward. It's not just going to be like,
Yeah.
I guess we'll just see what happens next time.
Yeah, like they actually take the time to deconstruct what went wrong
Mm-hmm.
in a nice way. Like
Mm-hmm.
that was like, okay, take a moment and look at what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. It's like the opposite of the previous episode where they actually
Right.
explain everything.
Right.
Let me see. Some trivia here. This is actually the first official contest that Jesse has ever won. So
Mm-hmm.
not the one with the bananas, that because that was the unofficial. In every contest shown since those in the Kanto region, contestants have been shown to be able to use a different Pokemon for appeals and battle rounds. Despite this, Jesse used Dustox in both rounds. Dustox. Oh, ooh, okay. Dustox participates in what turns out to be her final contest. Dun dun
Dun
dun.
dun dun. Dustox dies.
Bye bye, Dustox. Rest in peace. Now you'll find out what happens. um, when James
I
and
mean,
Meowth are.
moths don't live very long.
Oh
Just
no. Just putting that
moths
out there.
they've got like a month tops.
I thought most butterflies live like a month also.
Like they're not long lived.
Yeah. So don't ask what happened to Butterfree.
No.
When James and Meowth are pretending.
Butterfree went
Huh?
off to do its one job, did that job, and then promptly died. That's why you
Oh
never see Butterfree
man.
again. It went off
You know
as
what's
like, we're going to
Mhm.
continue this species, and then I'm going to cack because I'm like biologically 2 billion years old.
What's interesting is that in the Battle Frontier opening for Japan, Butterfree's in that.
Really?
Yeah,
Why?
it's really bizarre because you don't see it at all.
Why? Okay.
Yeah, they're just like teasing you because he's going back to Kanto and like, wait, why would you do this to me? But speaking of a throwback here, James and Meowth are pretending to make a contest. I plan for the contest. Background music from Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Red Rescue Team plays. Pachirisu and Piplup are all shown wearing the same cheering outfit as Maniri, while Pikachu wears the male kimono. This could imply that Piplup and Pachirisu are female, but we established in later episodes that Piplup is male.
Mm-hmm.
And Team
Look.
Rocket does not say the motto.
Piplup, don't care about your gender expectations. Piplup is going to be Piplup, and you shouldn't question Piplup's choices because Piplup knows better than you.
Yeah.
Piplup
He's
is
there
amazing.
to
Piplup
support.
shows up, does the work every time.
Yeah. He's here all the way,
Yep.
with or without the cheerleading outfit. But yeah, that is pretty much it for this episode of Sights on Sinnoh. Next time we have a spicy episode that can only be quenched by sweet milk. So we'll see how that one goes.
I will admit that I watched this episode.
Really? Okay.
Well, because I had it playing and it just continued, and the premise was so, what are you doing? That I'm like, I'm going to stay to see what you're doing.
Yeah.
I almost wish I could talk about it because I have feelings about this one too.
Okay.
I feel so bad.
Mhm.
I feel so bad for anybody who likes Brock.
Oh man, you're gonna spark some fires in the Discord here.
I mean, Brock. I mean, I get it. Don't hate the player, hate the game, but I kind of hate the player sometimes too, Brock.
Question of the week: which unknown is your favorite?
obviously G, because it's in my name.
Okay.
I
And
mean,
you
they're
think
all
it
the
looks like a
same.
G?
Yeah, I think it's one of the few ones that looks at least somewhat what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah.
A bunch of them are really weird. So I think
Hmm.
the ones that are well done. I think E is well done. I think G's got the kind of jazz in it that I like. The ones that I find boring, I find O boring. V is just weird. I don't get V because it. Why did you close it at the top? A is very basic. H is pretty good, but I think G and G has sort of like a good style to it. Like that it's supposed to be G, but it's actually got like a little kick to it because they couldn't make it a J.
Every time I see G, I have no idea what letter it is.
It is a G.
Ah,
That's how you make G's.
is it? Oh
Yeah.
no. EF. All right, sure, I'll give it to you.
I mean, in an alphabet that exists with J,
J.
how else are you gonna make a G?
Well, just like turn the angle on the other side, so like keep J rounded, but make the G like face the right way. Like it's facing the opposite way of what it. Wait, I'm confusing my letters. Never mind.
Now
Mine is
you don't
H.
know.
Now I'm more confused. But H, I think it looks really cool to me.
The thing
It
I
could.
like about G, so like
Mhm.
it combines like the capital and the lowercase. Because
Oh,
also in a lot of typeface, the G does go that way. So
I see.
the curve is on that side. It goes like in other fonts, they've switched it so that it looks a lot like a lowercase J, which I don't care
Mhm.
for. Um,
So that's what I'm
but
thinking of, is that like I'm trying to picture it as all of them as capital,
yeah,
and now
and it's
G that
not.
you mentioned is lowercase. It's like lowercase, but yeah, facing the opposite way of what you
But
might expect.
it's facing the right way. Where can I dump this?
No, it's not.
Yes, it is here. I'm putting it in resources.
Oh my gosh, that's the wrong channel.
I don't care. I'm putting it in
Yeah.
resources.
All right, all right. Gonna mess everything up, Greg. Okay.
But you can delete it. It's your
Oh,
Discord.
I thought you were gonna pick. I know. I'm just being dramatic. Gosh. I thought you were gonna show the. Okay, wait. Let me show you the unknown.
I'm looking
G.
at the unknown.
Okay, that G is facing the wrong way, even if
It
like it is
isn't.
lowercase.
Look at the first lowercase. The
Yeah.
hook. The hook is on the left side, and then it
What?
turns to the right.
Oh no. I'm okay for the second one. That's how I'm familiar with G's.
Right. I'm familiar with one on the top. That
All
is a
right.
standard
This is gonna be the
typeface.
question of the day. I'm gonna tweet when this episode comes out. Which G is the right G?
The
So,
one on the top. The
uh,
original typewriter typeface.
and I see the one on the bottom, so we'll put this out
That's
for the
because
fans.
you're a child.
You
You never had
know,
to use a typewriter. You
I
never had to use a
didn't.
typewriter.
So we have to get with the times here, and we'll take to the internet, which I don't think you had to use as a child.
Unknown is
Uh-huh.
from ancient times. Therefore,
Mm.
I win.
If it's from ancient times, why is it in English?
Arabic letters have existed for an incredibly long time.
Okay, this is actually my question. Why is unknown not in the Japanese alphabet? Because
There was
Pokemon's
a
a Japanese
reason.
game.
There was a reason given, and I
Oh,
think
really? Okay.
I forget why they chose. I think it's because Arabic can represent letters, and
Mm.
the Japanese are it's more of a sound based, so it doesn't
Okay.
work like it's harder to spell out because also depending how you put it in a word, some of them will change. So I think like Arabic is just a standard.
Mm.
They always look like this.
That's
Uh,
funny. Okay.
and then I forget. There's somebody who talked about like the very specific reasons why they chose the Arabic letter system.
Okay.
Also,
Cool.
it is a limited amount of them.
Yeah, that's true.
There's an exact number of them.
um, yes, until they added 2 more, and
Well, you need
that was it.
punctuation.
We do. Where's the comma? Where's the period?
How are you going to do a comma with a face?
Oh man, hey, they could do it. I believe in them. That's gonna be the BDSP edition. Commas. But
Commas
anyway,
for everybody.
exactly. If you turn it upside down, it's apostrophe. But this has been an episode, of Untitled
An
Sinnoh.
episode.
Thank you everyone for listening as we cover 8 and 9 here. 2 really good episodes, in my opinion. And thank you, Greg, so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I think is this your first contest episode?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I wish you had gotten to see more of the battles because Dawn gets kicked out early, but hopefully there's time for that in the future.
I mean, we know she does better later because it wouldn't be an arc if she didn't.
Yeah, it's all uphill from here, except for a few stumbles along the way.
She's the Diamond and Pearl Ash, right?
No, I think Manny would argue with you on that. Because...
I mean, she follows a very similar plot line.
Are you talking about like Ash overall?
Yeah, like Ash, first season of Ash, like losing and winning and losing and winning. It's a very similar feel of like season 1 Ash has to come to terms with losing and a lot more than he does recently. Oh yeah. He has that whole thing where he immediately loses to Brock and then has to go out as he's feeling sorry for himself. And then Brock's dad's like, let's get you trained up to teach my son some stuff. And then he goes back in and wins out of sympathy. And then he basically only wins the second gym badge because Misty's sisters thank him for helping. Like he has a really weird thing. And then he loses to Surge. Like his first actual battle, he loses. And that's the whole, I should force Pikachu to evolve, and then they have to do a special thing about it. So like they take those same plot points that Ash had to learn in his first journey and they translate it to Dawn. It is a different arc for Dawn, but the plot points are the same.
I don't know. To me, the things that I take away mostly from the first season with Ash is that you see him grow as a person, but not really as a trainer as much as Dawn does. Like,
yeah, but they know Dawn. They know Dawn is not passing this series. She will be gone.
But even with that, I don't know. I think to me, what makes her interesting is that she's not as close to Ash as maybe May was, as we saw her develop in contest earlier. But we'll see. If you guys have any thoughts on that, feel free to leave those in the comments as well. And if you want to watch any other episodes of the show, Pokemon.com has them all there for free as well. And other seasons and movies as well. So go ahead and check those out when you get a chance. And if they want to check out what you have to say, Greg, where can they do that?
Best place to find me is on Twitter at White Wing. I have everything linked from there.
Got all those URLs ready. And yeah, thanks for everyone who is listening. And hopefully, if this is out by the time BDSP is, you're enjoying that as well. And let us know how you are doing there. So until next time, I've been Will.
And I'm Greg.
And we'll see you in Sinnoh.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
Bye.